Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk Tristate with Tiny and Katy.
How did this come about?
That is a very great question. We'll back it up. Let's go back 5-6 years. When I became a nurse practitioner after I graduated from Penn State, I wanted to go into urology. That was my sole focus. That's really why I went to school to begin with. And because of that reason, I kind of wanted to go into the men's health field, but in a more professional, not that I'm not professional, but in that capacity. So I did. And I was very fortunate to have some good mentors and some good doctors and professionals to work with to really kind of train those skills. But then you start to see some of the limitations that are imposed on you, notably from the insurance model. And it just got to a point where I felt like I had enough skill, confidence, ways to go about things that it was time. It was time to kind of branch free from that. We don't have a men's health clinic in the area. And I really wanted to take it a step further in helping men achieve their optimal selves. So thus, Virtus Men's Health was born. And I formed the company last year in October. So it's been about a year since we've been in business.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Our office just opened, by the way. And we're very thankful to have that finally. We have been treating telehealth since about March. But it's been a journey. But when I was thinking of creating this company, there are two main reasons why I actually formed this. One, I wanted to be my own boss. So I don't think that's a bad reason. I don't like to be micromanaged. I like to call the shots, and that's just my personality. So that's been great. And the second reason, and this is probably the most important one, is because I truly am passionate about this, and I really wanted to help guys. That was really what drove this home. When I decided to create this company, coming up with a strong company name, I mean, I've heard about every joke under the sun in relation to this. I'm sure rise to the occasion, the whole 9 yards.
Ooh.
Yeah, you name it. It's kind of a running joke ongoing between me and my close circle of friends, which it's great. I love it. Throw it at whatever joke you have. I've probably heard it 10 times already. But
I think you just gave about the only one we can use on the air.
Right. Yeah, the most appropriate, the censored version. There's a lot of uncensored ones that are out there. But and I chose Virtus because in doing some research, Virtus was actually a Roman virtue, and it establishes all things masculine. So it means courage, valor, excellence, bravery, strength, masculinity, and they actually deified that. And there is a Virtus god, an actual Latin pronunciation of Virtus. We can call it that in English language, but in Latin it was Virtus, with that pronunciation. And that's really what it was. And as Rome developed, initially that virtue was established upon men of the military that would come back from their wars and their conquests, would get that connotation, would get that virtue. And as Rome grew and their social sphere grew, it kind of morphed out of that and then started to encompass just more of the nobility, more of the government officials as Rome kind of grew. And that's really what it started to become, more of a general connotation rather than men being in the military, but men having influence on their social sphere, influence on their household, influence on their community. And I felt that was perfect and envisioned what I envisioned for my business and moving forward. So it was like bread and butter. It's like perfect together. So,
what are the services that you offer?
So we are a full-service men's health clinic. We also treat women. I don't advertise for that out the gate. That is definitely down the road. I didn't want to start too broad, but definitely full-service men's health clinic. So low testosterone and testosterone replacement therapy is by long and far our most popular service. I would say second is peptide therapies. We can definitely do a whole segment on peptide therapies. I'd love to do that. They're very interesting. Peptide just refer to amino acid chains and signaling the body to do something it already does and achieve an effect because of that. Peptides are great. Weight loss, we do offer that. That and peptides are offered to women. We actually have about 4 to 5 women in our clinic currently for weight loss, and then some peptide therapies as well. We could go pretty deep on that. So
the answer is from Virtus Men's Health. Unless you're a woman, how can we help?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, and we do get a lot of men that are like, "Can you help my wife too?" And you know, we down the road, I do want to expand this more into helping women as well. I just didn't want to start too broad because doing women's hormone replacement therapy is delicate. To you know, it's a little bit more finesse than doing men. We also offer erectile dysfunction services. That particular part of my clinic is not up and running 100% yet. We do have some of the back end stuff that we could offer, but we are moving forward with low intensity shockwave therapy and then also platelet rich plasma injections down there for one, mild to moderate and even severe erectile dysfunction, and then also for male enhancement. You can actually do that as well with the plasma.
This might be a silly question. When the men come in for the services, are they allowed to bring their significant other spouses with them to learn more and be supportive?
Yes, and we actually advocate for that. If you actually go to my website on the frequently asked questions page, it actually says that verbatim. And it says, if you have a spouse, bring them, because we want to educate everybody in the services that we provide. And if it's just given to one half, then we have to rely on that half to relay it to the other half. And sometimes it's just better to hear
in translation.
Exactly.
Sure.
So bring them along. You know, we spend a good solid hour on all of our new consultations, and it's kind of funny. I actually call it a lecture because that's what it is. We sit in a nice exam room, 2 nice chairs, drink in your hand if you want it, and we literally just break down everything. And so I'll just give you an example for like low testosterone. We start to talk about everything, and I give you a lecture on this is, you know, where we go. And we talk about total testosterone. We talk about SHBG. We talk about estrogen. We talk about androgenic alopecia. We talk about testicular atrophy. We literally everything in relation to this, we lay it on you in about an hour and 20 minutes and answer all those questions. So when you walk out, you are like, whoa, I had no idea it went this deep. And this is going to be an education because it's a journey. This isn't something that you take one shot and you're done. This is a lifelong commitment. And we could talk about that too, of why it's a lifelong commitment and making that step. So for men can be challenging because it is that commitment, right? You have to give, like, you know, do I have to take this the rest of life? You do and you don't. Like you do if you want all the benefits from it, but it's not required. And we haven't had a person to date come back at their follow-up appointment, you know, 10 weeks after starting and then beyond, you know, every 3 months thereafter. And, you know, I always ask the question, so you ready to come off yet? And I was a resounding no. Of every man that has stepped through our doors for those particular services. So.
Are these, I'm sorry, Tiny, I know you have a question. Are these services covered by insurance?
No,
okay.
we do not accept insurance. We do take healthcare savings accounts and we do take flexible spending accounts. We can work with your flexible spending account to get you a paper. Sometimes they need that to know like what you're spending your money on. It's kind of funny. I'm working with a gentleman right now to navigate that, and they're kind of being a little difficult because I just don't understand it. It's your money. You should be able to spend it how you want, right? Sure. And we are a health service providing health services now. We do things outside of maybe FDA approval, but even regular insurance does stuff out of FDA approval all the time. But no, this is not a type of service or any of the services that we offer that are going to be readily covered by insurance. Some men do get their testosterone replacement therapy covered, but it's going to be done in a subpar manner to the point where this is something that we go over in our lecture as to why that approach is kind of flawed. And when you pay for your health care and you come in, you know, as you know, because we are a concierge clinic, you get exactly what you pay for. And there's no red tape, there's no prior auths, there's no things that hoops that we have to jump through. It's straight to the point. You get exactly what you want.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think this is going to be more popular. I just saw on the news the other day that insurance premiums are continuing to increase. They're actually outpacing inflation. And I think people are kind of getting fed up, you know, with these high insurance premiums, these high insurance copays, and just feeling rushed and not getting what they want. And we don't want you to feel rushed. We want you to feel very comfortable that we take the time to answer your questions. I mean, I'll even answer my patients' questions when they message us through a message portal, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night sometimes. You know, if I have time to get to it, I will, because, you know, I want to be there for these guys along the way and make sure that they're comfortable and confident moving forward. So
let's talk about testosterone if we could. You have any more, Katy?
I have a ton of questions.
I know, and I'm glad that
It's so interesting because I really thought for a men's health interview, how much am I going to really be able to contribute? But
I told you to make sure you were here.
This is fascinating
Yeah, it is.
because there's nothing else like this in the area, correct?
There is not. We're getting people, just to kind of give you, so I service 5 states via telehealth. So we do Maryland, obviously, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and West Virginia. And I think my farthest away client is Virginia Beach. I've got a couple out towards Pittsburgh, and I've got a guy out by Philly. Actually, I even have a guy, now I think about it, he's all the way up on the New York border. So, we're reaching out and we're trying to get men in this area. And there are other clinics, specifically down towards DC, but we're getting some transfers for them in, notably because they do things a little differently. And these guys are either driving to those clinics or they're just not feeling that the service is there. We are a true custom clinic. There is nothing cookie cutter about us. When you come in, your plan is individualized to you, to a T.
Literally
to a T. Yeah.
Yeah. So, now we have a new slogan for you.
Yeah, we do, to a T.
But speaking of T, which is short for testosterone in Josh's area of expertise, and by the way, we're talking with Josh Dahl. He is a certified nurse practitioner and owner of Virtus Men's Health just off Moggins Avenue in Hagerstown. So let's circle back in the last few minutes of our time together today, Josh, and talk about low T, because we did a podcast, you and I, a few months back.
Yeah.
That was one of the best interviews I've ever had an opportunity to be part of, and I'm so glad. This was before we even knew this was happening.
Yeah, that was a couple months ago.
So I'm glad to get you back in here because I knew that it would be equally, if not equal, if not better too. But when it comes to low testosterone, I am someone who has that, and you don't realize how much it affects you until you run the blood work, run the numbers, get on replacement therapy. You don't realize how it being low negatively affects you, and that once you start taking your dosage, how it positively affects you.
Yeah, it's pretty profound. I mean, everybody has their own individual experiences with it, and when we start a guy on testosterone, and we talk about injections versus creams, and there's some other therapies out there too. We don't offer those. We just do, I would say injections are about 95%, and then maybe creams like 5% of that. And there's pros and cons to each, and that's also what we talk about at our consultation. But everybody experiences that way they move forward differently. But I always tell guys, give it at least 3 to 6 months before we hit that stride. But it's a roller coaster when you first start. I always give the analogy, I'll use my hands here. So you have a lot of peaks and a lot of valleys when you start, right? You may get some bursts of energy the first week, and then the second week, like you're not tired in the afternoon, but it's wishy-washy, right? And then as you go forward, those waves become less and less and less, and then we get to like that third to fourth month, and you're like cruising, and then we do our follow-up roughly right before that, and then that's where we're like, okay, have you noticed some changes? And some guys are like blown away, and other guys are like, yeah, I've noticed some, but you just have to give a little bit more time. So it really just depends on the degree of hypogonadism before we get started.
And you said you just, I'm sorry, Tiny.
No, it's okay.
I have so many questions. You said you just opened an office recently.
We did, yes. Our office just opened right around Labor Day of this past month. So
do you have an open house or anything?
We do, actually. If you follow us on our social media, if you go to our website, virtusmenshealth.com, and you go to the bottom of the page, we have all of our social media links there. So on Facebook and Instagram, we have our open house posted. We have 2 dates. It's Friday, October 18th from 6 to 8 o'clock at night, and then the following day on October 19th from 1 to 3. So we wanted to have 2 dates just because we know people are busy, and those are good times. I think we're going to be able to get some people out in the community and come ask questions, come tour the facility.
Guess who's going to be there?
Yes, we're going to have you out from 1 to 3 on Saturday. I'm actually excited for that. I think it's going to be great.
Doing a live broadcast on our sister station WAYZ, and encourage everyone to come out and talk. Now that day with the open house, obviously you'll give people tours and show everyone around, but will you have information that you can part with people, with gentlemen, or even, and I encourage ladies, wives, spouses, significant others to come as well.
Yes.
If your significant other can't make it, get that information for him, do him that favor, because I think that is kind of lost in this as well. We talked about it at the podcast. Like, some ladies may find themselves just, I don't know what to do. He lays around on the couch. He doesn't have the motivation to do this. He once was this, and now it's this. And not saying 100% of the time or even any percent of the time it is low T, but I'm sure in a lot of cases it can be traced back to that.
No, absolutely. And I would actually this past week we've had 3 women call for their husbands.
Good.
And it's Thursday. So since Monday, we've had 3 women call for their husbands because of those issues. And they're looking for, hey, I need my guy back.
Yeah,
I'm
right?
lost. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, like I need my husband back, right? We need to turn back the clock because they've noticed a change, and the husband does too, right? And they're looking for like, what can I do to improve this? And we have our chat, and we get them started on therapy, and if they're candidate for it, which 99.9% of the time they are, and then we get the ball rolling, and you'd be amazed at when we do that 6 month, right? We've given it time. We've allowed it to kind of marinate in for a little bit, and then when we fall back, they're like, I don't even know why I didn't start this sooner. Right. This is insane.
Yeah, so, but you feel so great. Lost time doesn't matter. We're good.
Yep, we get them back in the saddle.
Josh, thank you so much for joining us today, and you're going to be a regular guest here on Let's Talk Tri-State.
Absolutely.
Viridis Men's Health in Hagerstown, open house this Friday and Saturday, so stop by and see Josh and his staff, and I guarantee you that he'll be able to help you like he's helped so many already.
I do want to, is it this Friday and Saturday or next Friday?
Next Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, next Friday and Saturday, yep.
And coming up on Let's Talk Tri-State, we are going to check in with news and sports, all powered by Viridis Health, Men's Health in Hagerstown. Telehealth is available. You can find them online at viridismenshealth.com.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.